Scripture tells a story of a wedding at Cana in Galilee. And she said to Jesus, they have no wine. And he said, well, that's not my business. And yet he asked for water to be brought, ordinary water. And he blessed it. And the wine was better than anything that had been served before. The miracle of faith. The trust, his mother said to the stewards, do whatever he tells you. And today that is the message still. The message of happiness, the message of miracles and of faith. Do whatever he tells you. And so we pray. Gracious Father, today inspire us to do whatever in our circumstances, in our land, to put aside evil, to say words that are healing, that are constructive, that are purposeful, so that the flourishing of humanity may be the coming of your kingdom. Amen. Good morning, Bridge Nation. Today is Monday, the 17th of January. Welcome to Early Rise. I'm Ronnie Thwaites. The Bridge 99 FM is a special station, you know. What it does, its primary purpose is to link Jamaicans and people who love this country and its culture all over the world. We transcend distance and we transcend time by the news of the day, by the analysis of all things in the public sphere, and blending that with the music, the theme music. That's part of our culture. That's the way, the metaphor for our understanding. And so it's special, really special. We begin with the early rise, reflecting, connecting with you at home or in the diaspora. I start things off. In a while, Pearnel Charles Sr., he'll join me to continue our discussions about issues affecting Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora. My Lord, there's so much to talk about. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being a part of the Bridge Nation by tuning in to Bridge 99.13579 on the FM dial. And remember, you can also watch our live stream at www.thebridge99fm.com, wherever you are in the world. Phone us now if you care, if you're awake and alert. Yes, 876-676-4996. Or there's a WhatsApp contact too. 876-551-5782. We'd love to hear from you. People use the WhatsApp much more than the phone now, eh? How does WhatsApp make money? Anybody know? Yes, because who makes an international call in a regular way anymore? Yeah, we use the WhatsApp, don't we? Well, we start things off this morning, as always, with our morning devotions. Yeah, we know who made us, who redeemed us, and who will sustain us during the day. The weather report is always an early feature on the early rise, and the Meteorological Service of Jamaica's forecast for today, Monday, January the 17th, is that the morning will be partly cloudy. The afternoon showers are expected through to the night, mainly across sections of northern parishes. A cold front is expected to move in the vicinity of Jamaica this evening through to Tuesday before dissipating. And listen, don't let talk about any cold front deter you, because we're looking, Audley and I, at the CNN tracker in the Bridge studio, and there's ice and snow over the southern parts of the United States, and it's heading for the northeast. And from the messages and contacts I'm getting last night and this morning, it's really severe. Yeah, and a little cool breeze in Jamaica is very different, isn't it? Yeah, and so we're grateful for the warmth. We are so much cherish the equable climate that we have in this country. We take it for granted until we go away, you know, and we commiserate with and understand the yearning of so many of our people everywhere in the world who are affected by winter, while we have perpetual spring and summer. Yeah. And isn't there a kind of contradiction right now that we want to just share with our listeners anywhere? Here we have people abroad who would love to come to Jamaica at this time, given the climate that they're experiencing in North America, just to take one example. I don't think it's much different in England. Yeah, the sources of large portions of our tourist trade. And yet, the Centers for Disease Control in the United States are saying, look here, don't go to Jamaica, too much COVID there. Yeah. So when you really want to go, you shouldn't go for health reasons. And also the logistical challenges too, because a little while ago we were watching, weren't we, the numbers of air flights that have been cancelled all over the United States, all kinds of airlines cancelling, people hold up for days in an airport. Terrible. So give thanks, for the easy climate that we have in Jamaica. Give thanks for all that is tropical, and let's make the best use of it. Let's not spoil it. We could make life so much better for tourism right now if we could report that not 25%, but 75% of our people were vaccinated, and that we were all uniformly observing the necessary protocols. I've been noticing the number of COVID cases that are emerging within the hotel sector. People don't want to talk about that, but it's a fact. But then, okay, we have to be careful that people who we want to come, we want them to spend their money. We need them to spend their money, and so that we can employ ourselves in every respect. Yeah, it's been bad up to now. But then, what about our own precautions? What about our own ways in which we deal with? Every time I drive out of the country, I realize that in certain communities, and how mix up we mix up. Yes, COVID now keep, and yet COVID keeping. Look at what happened yesterday. Jamaicans abroad. This is not to scare you, but we tell you the truth on this program. We don't hitch. And nearly 2,000 cases. Wow. And many others not being tested and therefore showing some symptoms, but not on the official statistics, Positivity rates in the high 30s went alarmingly into the high 60s. And while you can parse those figures and say, they don't really matter, the fact is that the hospital admissions are increasing, not to crisis proportion yet, but if we listen to the health officials, they're telling us that we're nearing there. Fortunately, several deaths, but not many deaths. Several, but not many. I really hope we can believe those figures, There are people in the journalistic profession who watch these things who say we shouldn't, who cast doubt upon them. I don't have any basis for doing so, and therefore I won't. But it is an issue. And so we come to grips with this scourge that's afflicting the land. It's troubling our economy. It's troubling the livity of our people. The entertainment sector has oversubscribed the money, I want to call it small money, that the government is providing for relief from their loss of earnings. That's not surprising. Not surprising at all. And I'm sure that there are many others, the small sound system operators, the artists who have been out of work, the entertainers in the tourism sector who are simply down to the bone of their resources now. And yes, we appreciate the gesture of offering some money, but, it can't be repeated. That's it. This is no permanent support or long-standing support. And it's limited, but better than nothing. So where do we stand? That diversification of the economy that people speak of, the Minister of Finance, has been clear, if a bit muted, on that subject. How seriously are we taking it? How urgent is the effort to really broaden the economic base so that people who might have been working in one sector can shift to another? We have very inventive people, This is why over the weekend I heard about a great deal of distress in a community called Quick Step in St. Elizabeth near Trelawney. Yeah, sorry about that, because it seems to me that land, whether it's maroon land or government land, we still call government land Crown land. Why? A fishy land? No, sir. Yeah, we're going to stop that and change the wording, huh? And it's not to be disrespectful of the Queen, but she not having a land here, Crown land. Change that, no? And also stop calling the mayor them your worship. Worship God. We don't worship mayor. Yeah? So, I'm really rambling, but let me tell you. In Quickstep, they say that somebody come in and say for them land. When people in Quickstep have been earning their living, send the people to go to school, buy something to go a shop, yes, on the basis that they are, the land is open to them to use. Them say land lease, give them that in the 1970s, and now they get notice for push off. Hey, you can't do that, you know. You can't just move people like that and expect that this is okay. Similarly, the cruelty that exists, this time not in Quickstep, but in the city, when you hear the municipal corporations just scraping up people who have their little hustling on the street. I'm all in favor of public order, and you can't have the streets overtaken by vendors. But you have to offer an alternative. I want to discuss that further this morning. You can't just scrape up that. Hey, do you understand the squalid inadequacy of the municipal corporation? I use that adjective purposely and intentionally. Okay? We don't have enough building inspectors to stop the people's Jim Screecher, the approvals that they get for the high rise. Yeah, only for corruption and that, you know. But we have enough to scrape up the little man who's selling one hand a banana and two orange on the street side and put for him stall and take away her stock and put it on the on the truck and take it away, and them can't get it back. Their business wipe out, while the other business with the corruption just go on. How that go? How that go? The common good has to be the principle of all governance, and the common good cannot be exercised in a way that is prejudicial to any particular class or race or type. We have to treat people equally and justly. That's what we stand for on the early rise. That's the principle of the Bridge 99. That's the only principle of any hope of a just and happy society in 2022 or in any year to come. Yeah. So stop that. Now we look through and see what you're saying now, you know, and what you're doing. All this pretty word going out about, oh, you're going to fix up the system and monitor this and have so-and-so account for that. And what you're doing on the street, you just have victimized poor people. If they can't sell the banana and the two orange, what am I going to do? What job you have for them? Oh, of course it's their responsibility. It's not government's responsibility to provide a job for everybody, but it is government's responsibility not to act in ways that are supremely prejudicial and drive more people into poverty than before. Sharp words, controversial views. Yeah, well, no apology for that at all. So people in Quickstep, they lock up the police in the district and cut down tree and block up the road so they couldn't even come out. The police have to walk out. Well, I'm not defending that particular action, but what I am saying is that we have to come to an ability to solve the problems. We can all get romantic and historic and about 1865, you know. But 1865 was about land, about the denial of a set of people who were anxious for land to produce their food and who were being denied that, who were being cast off their land because they couldn't pay an unjust tax, who were railing against a plantation system where a few people owned all of the land and the rest were consigned a generation after slavery to some marginal grounds. Yeah, we know what that system has not fundamentally changed. It has significantly changed, but not fundamentally in Jamaica. So much more has to be done. And here you have, in Quickstep over the weekend, an instance of this. I support the people's capacity to use the land. You can't just do that. If There will be instances where people have to move, but they have to be pointed to alternatives, whether it is for their livelihood or whether it is for their living. Yeah? We're not dealing with that sufficiently, and therefore we have people who are really distressed in how they function. We have to offer people the opportunity of the resources of this country to do better than they have been able to do before. Here we go. Dr. Horace Chang, the Minister of National Security, changing tack. Many observers and political watchers thought he would have lost his place in the cabinet. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says over the weekend that Dr. Chang has his full support. There was no way Dr. Chang was being moved here. He's a Deputy Prime Minister, and he's the Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party. The Prime Minister reiterated his support during his Sunday morning press conference, where he announced the 7th Zone of Special Operations, this time for the violence-plagued area of South Savannah-Lamar in Westmoreland. Okay? He declared confidence in the security minister in spite of murders topping the 1,400 mark in 2021, a 10% increase when compared to 2020, and the fact that Jamaica remains stubbornly among the top 5 most murderous countries on earth, with a murder rate of more than 46 per 100,000 inhabitants. And there have been more than 40 murders committed during the first 2 weeks of the new year. It's much more than 40, eh? Yeah, much, much more. The figure I heard was 76, is that right? My memory serving me well. So, no, suppose I tell you something before we go to the break on the bridge. I really want to just put something to my listeners and engage it for discussion later on in the early rise. Unless people have something to do, some work, yes, you could have all of the Zozo and all of the state of emergency, which some people want. You will not be able to stanch crime while there is ignorance and idleness throughout this land. That is the root of crime. Okay? People need to have something to do. If you want a state of emergency, in order to be able to direct people and enjoin them to do something useful, you have my support for the necessary period. Okay? But if you're doing it merely to think that by locking them up or killing them or torturing them that you can change them, you are making a sad mistake. You are flying in the face of a history. And if you have national responsibilities, your ignorance of history is culpable. You shouldn't be there if that's what it is. There will be some who have to be taken in and kept. But the vast majority of people who are engaged or peripheral to crime are not people who are inherently evil. They are people largely who are idle, particularly the young, and ill-equipped to do purposeful work. Start changing that, and you'll start changing those crime statistics. I happen to believe that somebody like Dr. Chang knows that. But the structure of the economy and the nature of the politics doesn't allow for that to really take place. It should. This is what I had hoped the zones of special operations would have brought about in a very radical and profound way. That young people prone to depend upon crime or to lurch into that kind of behavior would have been taken into training. That's what the army is for. That's what the army is for. You want a paramilitary kind of training in Jamaica. No guns. You don't need to teach them how to use the weapons. Yeah? But you need to use the discipline of the army. You need to use the ordering of life. If people have something to get up for in the morning and go out and do something and get something for it, however limited, the likelihood is that they are going to become far more purposeful citizens of the society, far more likely to contribute to good rather than to become connivers of evil. That's the difference. That's what makes a different country. How about that? Well, okay, just surfing the news, sharing my views. The Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, It's calling for health facilities to commence operating in emergency mode, given an overburdened healthcare system with understaffed and sick doctors due to a surge in COVID-19 cases. And the association has asked for an urgent meeting with Dr. Christopher Tufton, the Minister of Health. They say that while there is an increased number of individuals seeking care at health facilities, there's also a large number of junior doctors who are in isolation or quarantine due to the high levels of exposure from caring for patients with COVID-19. Is this a Christmas surge that we are seeing now, aggravated by the fact that it's Omicron, a new variant? There's an island-wide disruption, the young doctors are saying, in the association's ability. Remember, their membership is comprised of those doctors who are the frontline ones. They're not the consultants. They're the residents and the interns. And they're saying that their members' ability to provide adequate patient care, because they're understaffed, is compromised. That's not a good thought, you know. When you're sick, you want to know when you go to the hospital or the clinic, you're going to get the best of care. But if the carers are themselves compromised, and we heard of the large numbers, for example, of sick staff at the University of the West Indies and other hospitals and other places as well, then you have a difficulty. All right? So how do we cope with this now? Well, it seems to me that the patience that they ask for, PATIENCE, is essential. Secondly, if we are more avid in protecting ourselves from contracting COVID and other non-communicable diseases, which often require medical treatment and hospitalization, then by our own self-care and enjoining others in our family, among our friends, among your kumbolo, who to do the same, then you will have contributed to alleviating the situation which the junior doctors, the Medical Doctors Association, is telling us. And it's the same message coming from the senior doctors in the Medical Association of Jamaica. Yeah, and it is what we're seeing in Jamaica right now is entirely consistent with the timing of the peak of the fourth wave that Dr. Bissay Soar Mackenzie gave us a few weeks ago. So Jamaicans, stand up for yourself now. Get sensible now. And here you have the assertion from the health officers last week that the majority of people who are filling up the hospital with COVID and with other connected diseases are the unvaccinated. So hold on now. It's not that the vaccination is going to cure everything. It's not going to be a foolproof prophylactic. But what it is going to do is to help you to avoid the extreme rigors of the virus and the complicating factors when you have other conditions. So come we take it serious, no? Really serious. We can help ourselves. Otherwise, when you fall sick, and you're going to hospital, your care is going to be affected by the capacity of the staff. Recently, the Prime Minister has been criticized for indicating that you're on your own when that happens. And the words were sharp, yes? But in fact, he can't change that situation, you know. If, in fact, the doctors and the nurses are stressed out or they're falling ill, and if, in fact, they are in a position where they can't offer you, even if they want to, and they do want to, the best care possible, then what's going to happen, baby? So let's be sensible this day, no? We're facing with frightening circumstances. As we pointed out earlier, it's compromising the mainstay of our economy, the tourist industry. We play a part in that, okay? And in all other areas of national life. So I'm joining the appeal again, yeah? We have a capacity in this country to talk about things and hot up ourselves about things that are of minor significance by comparison to something as crucial that we could really handle ourselves. Crime, COVID, corruption. How about that? We can do something more for ourselves. Diaspora, lean on us, help us. Yeah, no matter take sides and say join in the isms and schisms. Help us by your distance, by your new perspective. by your interest and commitment to do differently. This is Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Time for the break. Good morning, Chief Charles. Welcome.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
We have to give the man his ratings and give him his theme song when he comes in the morning. The Honourable Pearnel Charles joins us on the Early Rise. This is the Bridge 99. Morning, sir.
Morning. You know how fortunate we are.
Yes, we
are. We are not in hospital. We never meet accidents.
No.
We don't have the virus. Because we have taken our
booster shots.
Yes. And
we don't have the terrible ice and snowstorms that many of our people are experiencing abroad. Yes? And more than that, we have the freedom to express ourselves in a way that in many countries we couldn't do, you know.
Well, sometimes I wonder if we are using our freedoms properly.
Well, let's set the standard as best we can, not presumptuously, but humbly.
Yeah, but let's look at one. I am worried, very worried, that I have not yet seen a demonstration of a community calling on the police to come and take out the gangsters out of the community. And I am aware that in every community where you have these gangs, the people know them. The people see them at night with them gun. The people know Mr. This, Mr. Big Eye, Mr. Big Mouth, Mr. Brown Teeth, Mr. Two Color Hair Man, Mr. This, Mr. That.
Yeah.
The people know them.
Yeah.
I've not seen a demonstration yet against the gangsters in their community. However, I've seen a demonstration that the police came in and shoot a man who is not a gangster. Everybody come out against the police.
Well,
I don't want you to believe that I'm saying the police is right to shoot a man.
How could that be?
I'm simply saying that the people are saying they know.
Yes.
That man is not a gangster, but I've never seen them saying to the police with any demonstration that and the murder is taking place. They're still killing people in the community.
All right, so let me first of all agree with you that the solution to crime is going to involve far more cooperation on the part of communities with the police, even if it means handing over their own. Yes?
Yeah, Ronnie, it is tough, you know. It is tough. I know that a father who knows his son is in there. It's difficult to call the police and say, take him, because him have a gun. It's not the bottom of the fridge or not the back of the television in my yard, right? And he's him. I know that. But I am worried that when a policeman leave his wife and children at home and is out there and walk the street and come in there and him here say, him know, because two people just dead in there. And he has instruction that it is this guy. And in trying to get the guy, whether willfully or not, the people are demonstrating against the police. In fact, the demonstration is just against the police and the Prime Minister these days.
No, I don't. I won't comment on that. But what I want to point out to you is the deeper thing. We always try and get to the fundament on this program.
Yeah.
People like ourselves must realize that there is people do not largely trust the police, you know. And they have in their experience, rightly or wrongly, good reason to do so. When I listen to the advertisement that the interestingly the Family Planning Association and whoever else have about morning ma'am, I have to searching for a wanted man in your premises.
Yes. You have a paper.
Yes, you have a paper.
Yes.
But my reaction to that is twofold. One, okay, that's good. That little scenario sets a standard.
Yeah.
But Mr. Charles, I know from my experience, not only as a member of Parliament, but also as an attorney and a person who has been on the street for 60 years, that it don't go so, you know.
Not all the while.
Very, very seldom.
Whether
sir.
it is very few or not, it don't go so all the while.
And therefore,
there are some decent police out there.
Clearly.
And there are some not so decent every other profession,
yes, sir.
including ours.
Well, sir.
Okay.
And where people have a fear, a twofold fear. One, they fear that if they hand in anybody, that person has connections, will eventually come out and will know or find out is who. Yes?
You know, let me stop you right there, because I have to fully agree with you
Yeah.
that one of the greatest setback in community participating or supporting the police in their community against these guys who are carrying on the thing is because, one, as them reach prison, them hear who tell the police. And then can call back them friend to take care of your mother, even if she live a country. So this thing is
And
not...
the other thing is too, sir.
This thing is not simple, you know.
No, and the other side of it too is that it's very often when you volunteer something to the police, yes, and the police same one who brought it out.
Well, I have heard that, Ronnie, but...
No, but I can tell you.
But let me tell you what you have just done. You have said police. And it taking some of the most decent fellows and women in the system. So let us say some of the police.
Some of the
Secretary, some of the politicians,
certainly,
some
sir.
of the doctors, some of the doctors too.
If you have evidence of that, what I'm speaking.
No. I don't mean for this particular thing.
No.
I said when we're referring to some of the things that happen.
Let us be particular.
Yes.
I stand corrected. But in respect of the police, this is something that I have seen, a culture of distrust that I can trace, at least in my experience, from 1971, when I became an attorney, right through to the present. And there have been efforts to improve it. There have been sterling examples of difference. But there are so many instances where people feel that if they open their mouth, if they do what the Honorable Pearnel said this morning, and which morally and for their own lives they should do, which is to cooperate with the police, inform them who is a criminal, where to find him or her, they are not safe and they do not trust the outcome. There's another thing too, sir.
Let me make you win on that, because I just hear a woman in a row say, tell him, Ronnie. Because the truth is this, that if we tell them, by the time the man reach a station, him here or who.
There's another thing too, sir.
No, and that is worrisome for anybody who wants to cooperate with the police.
Yeah.
And I accept that.
Okay.
But it's not everybody don't want to cooperate, and it's not every police that is going to do that.
No, and so what we have to do is to build a culture within the police and in their relationship with the communities, which is different. I wish to suggest two things which can help. One, the police youth clubs and community relations are not soft extras to policing. They are essential elements for embedding themselves with trust in the communities and gaining intelligence. Yes? And one of the things that my experience has shown me is that you have community police persons, and the moment they are making real inroads in this or that community,
They move them.
They move them.
Yes.
Which defeats the very purpose that you are investing in.
And sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
from where I was, I probably hear, you hear some I don't hear.
Sure.
That some of the police are moved because of information given to their seniors as to what they're doing.
You will have that, and I acknowledge that you will have those breaches, but you don't.
And that don't mean that they don't make mistakes, you know.
But the structure of relationship with the communities.
Yeah.
Hello, the biggest during slavery time, Mr. Charles, the most cruel people. Yes, 2/3 of those who would lash and inform on the slaves were slaves themselves,
Ronnie, you're not supposed to come in my yard and don't tell me, because you hear me talking last night. Which side am I? Was I on the side of the slave giving up other slaves? I was on the side fighting this. Who is in my room? Which side were they on?
Right.
And I must defend them now when they may have been on the side fighting the British. Or they may be on the side catching us and sending us back to the British to be headless.
And as that reputable folk historian, Shalman Scott, will tell you, that they didn't even have to come in with the live slave.
They come with the body.
Come in with the body, or they come in with 2 ears, yes, and get the money, yes. So that is, I'm with you on that. The other thing, though, going back to your original point about community cooperation,
Yes.
where you have a situation that the outcome, the trial of a particular person in criminal law in Jamaica is egregious. The ordinary criminal trial can take at least a year and probably 4 or 5 years. And people who you would want, I would want, to bring in so-and-so bad man into the community.
Yeah.
Yes? When they think of having to go to court 4 times, when they think of the jeopardy and vulnerability that is concerned with that, me not do that. Yes?
Okay, so you are saying, Ronnie, and I think with much body, that some of these things are what prevent the cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
And fear is one.
Mm-hmm.
And one, I'm going to say, why you get yourself involved with that?
Mm-hmm.
And people who are benefiting
Right.
from the crime of the gangsters
Mm-hmm.
is also watching for the gangsters who in the community. So it is not as simple talking as I said it earlier.
But your principle is correct.
Yeah.
It's needed. But let me reinforce the point. If every police district had as much attention to going out and kick down Miss Mary Dora, yes, or holding, carrying in a state of emergency, the boy there, and all right, you want free? Yes, tell us where the gun there. Yeah, and you can't come out till you tell us where the gun there. Yes,
Half of the man them who them carrying in and gun charge, they don't find no gun, you know.
No.
Because the man hide the gun or give it to him friend.
Well,
And it is not, you just said, well, if you were the judge, you say, look here, you know you're guilty. We are finding guilty, you know, before a sentence. If you tell us where the gun is,
well, that's a plea bargaining.
who did you get the gun from, and where the rest of the gun is, you know, you have a bigger chance.
You might.
I don't know. Is this happening? I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't think it is. But what you're pointing to is a relationship between the forces of law and the communities.
Yes.
Now, if you suppose, sir, that in the midst of all this cry for state of emergency, you had a proposal where every unattached youth or every man who can't account for himself, yes, was engaged in some kind of relationship with the police, whether it is youth club. The police youth club is one of the greatest crime fighting mechanisms in this country. They have gone into atrophy. Yes, that won't take into account some of the real top men. Yes, but deal with the youth in that way, and then go after the top men and find them. Because where you're going to find them is not in those communities by and large, any more than Dudas was to be found in Tivoli for the most part. I've been reading that story again, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. So come we get clear what it is we need to do. But what we have is this reflex of that repression is going to solve. I watched the Prime Minister yesterday after church at this press conference, and he really believes that increased police presence in Sablomar South is going to ease it. I hope he's right. But
but hold on, man. You, in making the point you made a while ago, it indicates to me that you don't believe.
No.
Well, let me tell you something. One policeman or one district constable, and that is one of the things that you have left out.
Very important. You're correct.
You have left out.
Yes, sir.
Because
this discussion is good.
The district constable,
he knows.
Man or woman.
Yes, sir.
And in the past, it was the older men who were district constables. Today, you have some young fellows who are district constables.
Yes, sir.
Men and women.
Yes.
And so, let break what I was going to come up. Very important point you made.
Yes.
If we were continuing the police youth clubs, out of the police youth club, we would be getting some information.
Sure.
If we were organizing the community and they choose Mr. Brown or Miss Clark
to be
my district constable.
Yes, sir.
She or he would be the information center
Absolutely.
in the community.
And the point of reference.
Yes.
So I'm going to say no. If you had a district constable of the type that you have just described, at the top of Rosemary Lane, in the middle, and
Yes.
at the end,
Yes.
you would have made a significant contribution to intelligence and I believe to crime prevention.
Let me show.
And
yes,
to crime
before me,
solution.
the answer is yes, but let me show you what has caused a problem. When my father became a district constable,
Yes, sir.
he never get paid to be a district constable
No.
unless him arrest somebody.
Oh.
Now,
Uh-huh.
this new generation has uplift district constables
Right.
to be sitting in police station.
Yeah. To do clerical work.
That's foolishness.
No, they need to be on the street.
They take them out of the community.
Yeah.
They pay them now as paid district constable to go out with police,
Right.
to be walking.
Yeah.
And the idea that we're talking about of having somebody in the
Element of community police.
Miss Brown know him, you know.
No, but
Miss Brown would trust him to tell him a little thing quicker than
but
test the police.
I'm making one addition to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Plenty of the district constable that could be in this new iteration we're talking about is woman could do it.
What was?
Woman.
Well, I must congratulate them bringing a lot of women up.
Good. I didn't know.
Oh yes, a lot of women, young girls are district constables.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
I didn't know that.
Yes. But as I've said, they have lifted the district constable up to a police level
Yeah, I follow.
rather than a community.
Bureaucratize them.
Right, exactly. And I wish they would go, but because in my opening statement to you, if they had somebody who was connected to the police in a police form, that person would also be an information center.
Well, look at that. I just want to make, before we break for the JIS feature, one thing to introduce our next topic when we come back. In Westmoreland,
Yes.
the rash of terrible crime
Yes.
cannot be separated from the fact that the two mainstays of economy in Westmoreland are on their knees. In fact, they're on the ground. One is sugar, and two is tourism. Yes? That's not a complete answer, but it is extremely contributory to what is taking place.
And it's not an excuse because...
Not an excuse.
Because there's very few areas in Jamaica have what you have just said.
Yeah.
There are areas that have nothing even seen the tourists.
Yes, sir.
Or know what a hotel looks like.
No, it doesn't matter.
And they are not killing
people.
And listen, whether it is true or not, Ronnie, I cannot get over the fact when I hear somebody in the court as a witness say, when them hear say Kingston gang have 40 more than them, them say go out and beat them.
Look at that.
And you have to bring 45.
More on that when we come back on the early rise. The Honourable Pearnel Childs is with me. This is the Bridge 99. Soon come. Later on in the program, Pearnel Childs and myself will be interviewing Jamaican author and philanthropist Garold Hamilton, an engineer and a vice president in one of the largest engineering medical firms in North America, who is a philanthropist too, Garold Hamilton, and who we are celebrating, as we do, people from the diaspora for their continuing contribution. 1,200 plus flights, Mr. Childs, cancelled as winter storm wreaks havoc on the skies. That plus the Center for Disease Control telling Americans that they mustn't come to Jamaica because COVID ragging. Yes?
No, they said more than that. They've named
communities
that no American must travel to.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
as I heard the minister said, that is nothing new. That has been said and people still come. But what is happening in America? You know, I mean, you should say, don't stay here. Go there.
Yeah. But then, what's this going to do with our tourism revenue? Because the hope that the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Tourism, all of us have been expressing is that there would be the tourism bounce back during this winter season. Well, We're in the first third of the winter season. It goes from December to April. But I'm concerned. The cruise ships are not coming. The Americans, who constitute the largest number of tourists, are being told don't come. Yes.
And whatever the Americans say, the Canadians here.
Well, that is you're quite correct. So we have to look now at how vulnerable, how brittle, in fact, our situation is, because we don't know when COVID is going to ease off. And we have to look very fundamentally. And I would have loved to hear public discussion on the issue of how we're going to, as quickly as possible, diversify our economy.
But, Ronnie, it's easy to say.
Sure it is.
takes about 10 seconds to say it.
Yes, sir.
But it takes 10 years to do it.
Yes, sir. So can we start the first year now, no?
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Yes.
You and I won't be around. Huh?
Well, no, maybe, but we believe in the communion of saints.
Okay.
But
that is not to express any distraction.
No.
From the very important point you're making.
Point, yeah.
I am concerned that tourism, which is one of our major, if not the most,
major foreign exchange earner.
Yeah,
along with the remittances.
Right. If we don't have that, and I heard it this morning, I heard the government giving away things, Minister of Cultures.
Yes, entertainment grants.
For entertainment. And packages are going out. I don't know where to get the money from, but it sounds good. Some people are saying they don't get yet, and I don't know if it encourages step back and wait. I don't know. The opposition don't complain yet that the government is doing it to get vote. But
hello, that is beyond doubt, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the amount of public money that can be used for that purpose is now it has no restriction.
Well, the point is this, that it's part of the system. You can't run a system without that. And if I give you something, you're going to try and give me something to preserve it.
Yeah, but you see, that is the fundamental corruption that people have.
What you call it corruption?
Oh, of course it is, sir.
Well, what's the opposite?
The opposite is a system where there is accountability for public funds which are used which are not used on a partisan basis. Look at this thing, Mr. Charles, that's come up over this weekend about this contract for this gentleman who tells who to get guns. Where despite what the civil service rules are, despite what the Civil Service Association is saying, what a strong letter came from O'Neill Grant about it. Despite what the Minister of Finance is telling us, that we must have confidence in the new system of how board members and all of these things are taken care. You have a contract that says that if I'm employed to you and I do something egregious and you fire me, you have to pay me for the next 2.5 years.
Well, but Ronnie, I've been a trade union for 41 years. That don't work. Well, hold on a minute. Let us have, who put that in the contract?
I don't know.
But why are you blaming the Minister of Finance?
No. The minister. I'm saying the minister. I'm not blaming him.
Why are you blaming the Prime Minister?
Sir. No. I am concerned.
Somebody, somewhere.
No.
And then
but let's be clear, sir. No. Let's be absolutely clear.
Yes.
A contract for a chief executive officer of a government agency it must be subject to the board of that agency. The board of that agency is subject to the minister.
Yes.
And the minister is subject to his cabinet and to the Prime Minister.
Yes.
Yes? So
the Prime gone.
And we go. How much further you want me to go? God Almighty.
And the cabinet and the Prime Minister is subject to me and you.
No, but we don't have access to them. We don't know.
We are fortunate that we have a democracy that put them before us every 4 years.
No, don't. Well, the judgment, that judgment is yet to come. But you can't tell me about that, sir, because by that time the money paid out and gone.
Yes, no, I am not. Let's get it straight.
How that could be, sir? Why we don't get an immediate saying, listen, this can't work. We're going to rescind this contract right now.
But I'm sure it has been rescinded.
Well, I don't know that. We don't know that.
Ronnie, the Minister of Finance
Yeah.
had made it absolutely clear that's just rubbish.
Yeah. But
Now, hold on a minute. And I am telling you, I have been in the trade union for 41 years. I have never seen.
Yeah.
And if you asked me, would you have accepted that? I say, man, that's joy. Everybody would be happy to have some.
No, but
if you're fired for whatever, that is not true.
But
That is beyond.
no, it's true. It's
Ronnie.
very true, sir.
Ronnie.
It's very true.
How many contracts would be like that?
I don't know. That's a problem we have. But when the public sees, that instance takes place, a highly placed political apparatchik gets that kind of arrangement, what do they think about the rest of the government structure? What do they think about the trusts that they must have? Why should they want to participate, do ordinary things like paying taxes or participating in the process of governance?
And let me quiet you a little. Because here is it now. Here is it. Who is it that you're blaming? Prime Minister.
Yes. Listen, sir.
I mean, the poor Prime Minister.
No, he's not poor. He's better. we know that. And we don't grudge him one thing.
No,
But hear me now.
no, hold on a minute. That is not to suggest that I am in any support for that sort of contract.
No, but what I expect you to do is not be defensive.
And next week, if we don't hear that those who have the authority to say, cancel that, it is cancelled, then
but
we have a problem. And if there are any more in the system, let it go.
Thank God for the Auditor General.
Yes.
Because the Auditor General is the only one who picks up these things. Yes? And then afterwards, despite the fact that we must have known. Despite the fact that we must have known what was going on. Look at it, sir. Look at.
No. When they say we must have known what's going on, what do you mean by that?
If I am minister, I must know what is going on and take responsibility for what is happening in the agencies that I am responsible for.
And that was
even if I am not personally aware, I have to take responsibility. Mr. Boris Johnson was not at any of the parties that that were in 10 Downing Street.
Man, go take a drink.
Well, on the night before Prince Philip's funeral.
Yes.
But he has to take responsibility for what was done in the place that he had control over.
Yes, could I disturb you a minute?
Certainly.
Yes, I will agree with you that you have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that you knew about it.
No.
So because you are there, hold on. When my boyfriend rocks on a lick out a man windshield, in first thing him ask him, what your father name?
Sure.
So the responsibility come to me.
Yes, sir.
So
but it's not you throw the stone.
No, but so I am in agreement with
right,
you.
So done.
That contract.
Argument done. Who said that?
our friend Michael said argument done.
More recently.
So the point is though that I expect that sort of contract, right, have to go and go, and if there are anything like that around, because there are contracts that I have signed that if you get fired, you don't get nothing.
If you're fired, how you can get something?
And secondly, if you have to be dismissed, not because you have committed a thing, some sort of...
You get notice pay.
Exactly. Yeah, so I don't understand how this little song could slip in, and let us say it has not happened, but it is there that if it happened, this could happen.
No, I'm not prepared to say it has not.
No, it has not. In other words, the man has not been dismissed. He's not going to get any money.
No, but it indicates it. No, but
what it indicates what he would get if he was dismissed.
No, it's deeper than that. It indicates a pattern deeply of which people are deeply convicted in their minds, that people who are highly placed politically get all kinds of pop off, and that this is to the detriment of the taxpayer, sir. And it is detriment of, and in this instance,
detriment of the government too.
Of course, if it is, if it
It's
were
not
one,
just a tax.
if it were one instance,
Yeah.
it would be one thing. But it is becoming almost now every week. There is another instance of this, and I take no political pleasure in the fall, in the repute of the present government. I want my government to be so respected, yes, that people will listen to it, never doubt, trust it. Trust is a major deficit that is causing all of the wars in Jamaica now. Lack of trust, and when you have instances like this, and let us be clear, all of us may fall. But when you have that kind of thing, yes, you are setting back the country no matter what the GDP look like.
And I'll go a little further to say, look, if you didn't know and you know now, let me know by next week what you do since you know.
Okay. So,
and it may not bring back total trust, but you say, if me did know it could not, now that me know it was not.
So if we won't do it now because we have other optimistic things to do, but all of the different allegations, scandals, charges, etc. of the last whenever, yes, by whomever. Look how which of them have been dealt with. Every one of them is pending. Not even the poor little girl who get her hair cut off in the Fort Parts police station. We can't even get an answer on that because there's no commitment to really clean up the situation.
Well, you get some answers, you know.
Which one? Yeah. Well,
I mean, is it that the police cannot say whether or not it is true that it's the girl who asked the police to cut her hair?
Well,
is it a fact that she had
business?
She had strangers in her hair, and the police was against the distribution of those strangers in the
business. Business.
Your business was that it here cut.
Whatever it is, we must know the answer. It can't take 3 months or 6 months.
I agree with you.
Yes, sir.
Full stop.
Yes.
I agree with you.
And when it does take that length of time, it is obviously that somebody is covering up. Yes? Got you. This is the Early Rise. We talk it straight on the Bridge 99. When we come back, Gary Hamilton, an author, engages in a lot of philanthropic work in Jamaica, member of the diaspora, engineer, vice president of one of the largest engineering medical firms in North America, recently named consultant for the Cornwall Regional Hospital Recovery in Montego Bay. He'll join us to talk about his philanthropic efforts and professional achievements in the diaspora. Stay tuned. Honorable Pearnel, Charles, let's look at the couple of the international things that happened. Yes. You're a tennis man. Yes. This man, Mr. Djokovic.
Yes.
What do him?
Well, let me tell you something. It was a discussion on the tennis court. And one tennis player...
There is no radio station in Jamaica that brings a discussion on the tennis court into the studio. Go ahead, tell me.
And tennis player said, let's take a vote.
Uh-huh.
What's going to happen to Djokovic? And I said, listen, the government has already made a statement. Yeah. And if the government come off of that statement, they cannot talk to the people in Australia.
No.
So what a Mr. Djokovic is the greatest in the world and going to bring money to certain people. Uh-huh. The government has a responsibility. And when the judge said he must stay, I was so happy that there was another route that the government could carry on as a government. And I want to congratulate them.
Yeah. So tell me now, it led the news, the international news.
Right around the world.
Right around the world.
Yes.
But then that is a wrong sense of priorities, Mr. Charles.
Wow.
This man who decides to not taking the vaccine, but demands that he be given the right to go and please and do him thing. Yes? Exciting.
And that the government, but that to me is not the biggest thing. Yeah. There's a large portion of Australia who came out to support him because they have not taken the vaccine. Uh-huh. Now, had the government allow him to stay, the government could not speak to those people afterward.
I don't think so either. And it would have, but look at it now. In the midst of a tsunami in Tonga, which is affecting the west coast of the United States, or has a potential, and the whole Pacific. in the midst of ongoing conflict, war, etc. We elevate this man's selfishness, yes, and prima donnaism to the front, to the headlines of the world.
Every paper in the
No,
world.
no. So we need what Toots was singing about spiritual healing. That needs spiritual healing. You must put people first. You must put what is major in front of what is minor.
I think they need you. You just have to pick up your candle and put on your cross.
Yes.
Because the Bible said they need Jesus.
Oh. But you see, there's another thing, They need Jesus. There's no doubt. And one of the things that is coming out from government now, our government and more broadly, is the primacy of family life. Yes. And I wanted to bring to your attention, because apart from the quintessential barbarity of that little 9-year-old boy, yes, who somebody slit his throat, in Montego Bay. Yes, you remember that one last week. You had this girl earlier last week, 15 years old, who is shot dead. 15 years old. Her father, say her mother, left her with him when she was a baby. Him try minor. And at 15 years old, she take up herself, come out of him yard, go in the yard of a man who she want to live with. Yes? Who is a gangster. And no doubt because of him thing, yes, his deeds. Gunman go in there, shot the two of them to death. Where's the family life, Mr. Charles? What is happening? I'm hearing you in the studio, please.
Ronnie, I am saying to you, if what is being rumored, and rumor must not come to the bridge,
right?
We must have some facts.
Yeah.
But there's some rumor on the street about the man who took away the car, took the little child with the car, and they found the car, and the child died in the car. Bush ears.
Yeah.
That no look good.
No look good. But
no, the girl, no. I mean, that I can't comment on.
But you have to comment on it, sir, because you cannot. We cannot state of emergency, preventive detention, official murder, lock up will make no difference. Finding oil outside of Morant Bay cannot help us if we do not say to our people, look now, you cannot bring children, when you bring children into this world, put it positively, there is a commitment to care for them. There is a commitment to mind them. Even if it's one finger banana you have to share that with the picnic first. And you cannot make a 15-year-old girl decide, say, she are going to take away herself, find man, yes, and end up this way. And then you're sorry.
Hold on a minute.
Hold
on a minute. It's a different generation you're talking about, You're talking about this generation, you see, my friend?
Yes.
That 12, 13, 14, 15, them having baby, then we tell them father, them mother, them walk out, and somebody's out the taxi.
What are you going to do about it? Because you can't. There is no progress. My party said progress. Your party said prosperity. There's no prosperity. There's no progress if that goes on, sir.
Yeah, but then you see,
so we have to set a standard.
What they used to do, we have legislated against it. So there's nobody going to get a box or get a lick.
I don't know that lick and box going to help. You have to do something else. Something far more fundamental, something far harder than that.
Well, you do better.
So what, when the child leave out the school, when the child not come to school, because she drop out and take man, with the school, and I'm blaming them, I know the school well that she went to, supposed to go to, them not follow it up? Where the parent is, where the officials is. Why do we think that is even barely permissible, that we can go on with our lives when that happens?
When the boy in the school look at the teacher and tell her certain things.
Yes, sir.
Because he's a young teacher. And all the teacher can do is put him in the back bench.
No, sir.
What she do?
I don't believe that
she tell the principal what is going on. They can't put him out of school.
No, but there are other things that we can do
which we
don't do. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later, won't we, on the early rise. This
I'd
is the
like to
Bridge
hear that.
99. You will. Good morning, Mr. Hamilton.
Morning. How you doing?
We're well, thank you, and welcome. Happy to have Mr. Gary Hamilton with us. May I introduce you to the Honourable Pearnel Charles, retired Minister of Government.
Good morning, Honorable Pearnel Charles. Actually, I've seen you a few morning at Ligani playing tennis when I go and play tennis with Mr. Sean Shelton, a friend of mine, sometimes when I'm down there in
So
Jamaica.
you're exposing me?
You're a boss for him.
But thanks, because my wife might not always believe that for the past 20 years I'm going to Ligani, every morning.
That's good. Here's the engineer, vice president of one of the largest engineering medical firms in North America. Gary Hamilton, tell us your story. Where you come from?
Why, right, Charlene Sablamar, so
Wow.
Hill right next to the Tate and Dolly Cemetery. So right in between both cemeteries in Sablamar. That's where I hail from. It's
Where you went to school?
I went to Mannings. I went to Mannings High School.
Great Mannings.
The Mannings School.
Yes, sir.
The Mannings.
Okay. And tell us what happened. What was that a good experience, and how you reach where you reach?
Wonderful experience. Grew up, from a tough background. Where, the area affectionately called Charlene is, obviously it's one of the ghettos in Sablamar.
Yeah.
And challenging background. Never have a lot growing up with. My mom didn't really have a job. She's an entrepreneur. She sell all different type of stuff. So you have a shop. She make cake. She do everything with it what she can do. And my dad actually used to work at Mannings. It was challenging because my dad and my mom broke up when I was about 10 years old. So he went on and moved to have another family. So it was left for my mom to really try to fend for four of us. I have two brothers and a sister. With my mom, and growing up in that situation really, challenged you a whole lot. But, I passed my common sense exam, did well, went to Mannings. After going to Mannings, did well at Mannings, did well at my A-levels, and have the next thing was to go to the University of the West Indies. So I applied, I got through, but I didn't know how I was going to afford the university. So that's something that I at those times would never really have a communicated part with your peers to talk about it. And really, my mom, was struggling and trying to make ends meet. So I didn't want to pressure her. So in my mind, I wanted to just sit out a year or maybe a couple of years until I can afford to go. So I decided that I'm going to give up my year at university. I, was going to forego the year. About 2 or 3 weeks into making that decision, my mom didn't know that I made that decision. So she asked me, she said to me, what are you going to do this year? And I said, well, I'm going to sit out the year. And she said, doing what? I said, I don't know. I'm trying to find a job. But she said, but you never find a job before. Why you never have a look for a job? And the matter of fact, she said to me, listen, you're going to the university. Tomorrow morning,
Get
pack up your
dressed.
bag. We're going to UA. From Sablamar, jumping on one of the bus and then time there, and straight to university. Up
My
there,
God.
when we went up there, I went to the natural science admin building and went there. They said to us, listen, Miss Mackenzie, that's Beverly Mackenzie, her name. Beverly Mackenzie, boy, it's your son forego and postpone thing to next year. So, it's 3 weeks into the semester. We have made most of our decision already for everybody in terms of entry. So, we have a waiting list of about 50 or 60 people. So you have to just wait on the waiting list. So my mother said, well, I plan to wait. So we have some family in Spanish Town, the Chapmans. We went there and stayed for the time. And every day for that whole week or couple weeks, actually, my mom went up to the university. Every day.
What a blessed woman. What a blessed woman.
she was Dr. Morris,
Yes.
and he was the dean
Yes,
of
yes. Recently
at that
deceased.
time.
Yes.
Dr. Morris made a decision in on the end of the 2 weeks and said, and allow me. Well, it's two-person. Dr. Simone Nelms, who her father was the warden
Uh-huh.
of Taylor Hall,
Yeah.
and she was coming from the U.S. and
So
but she has connection.
So you get a skip.
Yes. So and then they give her, and then I was one of them. And Dr. McMorris said, "Where is Garold? You need to go and get him wherever he is." So she called me and said, "Listen, get on a bus and come up." So when I came up there, Mr. McMorris drew me to one side and said, "Boy, I did this. I didn't do this for you. I do it for your mother." Because
Look at
every
that.
day the woman up here.
What a
sometimes she
story,
have to talk.
Pernell.
Yes, yes.
What a
She
story.
just sit
No,
down.
no.
She just sit down and watch.
And watch,
And then
and wait.
just be sure that she's there.
Yeah.
And the man said to me, "If you ever feel out
Yeah.
this university,
Yes.
I personally
Yeah.
will deal with it." And that's how I went
My
to the
God.
university.
So whoa. Fast forward now. What are you doing now? And tell me what
So-
you're doing now, and then I'll ask you what's happening with your connection, Jamaica.
Okay, so I'm the senior vice president and regional healthcare director for a company called WSP. The acronym is an old acronym from a firm that they acquire from the UK, but it's a Canadian firm. Genevar actually own the company. We're a global company with over 75,000 people, one of the largest engineering and infrastructure company in the world. To be honest, there's not a lot of people who look like me in terms of my color. Actually, it is at that level.
Can
in
imagine
the company.
what it is your company does.
So my company, large engineering project. I am actually the head of the healthcare sector. I'm actually head of the East Coast, one of the leaders. So my specialty is in hospital and healthcare facilities. So I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So,
Yeah.
but I design healthcare systems. So anything to do with HVAC, MEP, mechanical engineering, plumbing side. But I'm also a planner because the architectural aspect and the clinical aspect of projects also is something that I specialize in. So those are the stuff that we do. I'm doing several hospitals all over the US. I'm doing one in Washington, D.C. Called the St. Elizabeth Hospital, which is about 350,000 square feet. But I'm also doing a project for Indiana University Health, which is 2.5 million square feet also.
Wow.
So the projects, we work on the biggest projects. Children's Hospital of Atlanta, we're doing that's 2.1 million square feet as well. So, it's quite a lot of, fairly large size projects.
No, those sound very large. I need to ask you a question. Was your training at UWI, has that been helpful in placing you where you are now?
I think the principles and knowledge and the tenacity that I got, that I achieved, that I gained from doing a challenging course. It was challenging, but it gave me all the tools that I needed to really flex and to adapt to anything that any engineering discipline that I had chosen. And I should tell you that I did a civil engineering degree. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I got my first job, which is 2 years after I got my leaving university, I got my first engineering job, and I was working in a mechanical engineering company as a civil engineer. And I remember it was in London, and at the time, the director said to me, I said, "But I didn't do this at school." He said, "Listen, Mr. Hamilton, you're an engineer. You come from Jamaica, and you went to the University of the West Indies. You can't do anything." That's why.
Well, now, do you realize the dose of adrenaline that you are giving to our listening public this morning? Gary Hamilton, what is the Ghetto Youth's Bible?
Oh, so the Ghetto Youth's Bible, is a book. I call it the narrative of my life, but it's it's really a book that I wrote, and the reason why I wrote that book, I went through several challenges, and I, somehow was lucky to create a path, of per se success. Through these challenges, I didn't really have a whole lot of direction and mentorship, and I didn't have a guide, a rudder to really steer me in the right direction. I have a great mom who really threw everything at me and in me.
Telling us.
Although my dad wasn't there, he was also, there living with me and stuff and everything. He was one of my biggest fans when I did anything also. So he created a belief system in me that I could move mountain, because that's how he looked at me. And that's
Hold on a sec. Let me get something clear. Although your mom and your dad were not together,
yes,
your dad retained an interest and a commitment to your advancement.
Yes. Well, he didn't financially, he couldn't afford it because he had an accident.
Okay.
He had an accident,
not financially, but morally.
But morally.
No, you know why I'm stopping you on this, because that large numbers of Jamaicans, young people, grow up in a situation where mother and father are not together for whatever reason. But what you're telling me is that despite the fact that they're not together, your father, and despite the fact that he had a broke pocket, he maintained an interest which has helped you to be where you are. Now, that is very different from somebody who says, boy, I'm in a business with you,
Yeah.
No, and that is important. If mother and father come together to have a child, no matter what happens to them, they must maintain that interest in the child. True?
Yes, true.
Yeah, good.
Let me ask you quickly. Is your mother still alive?
Oh, she is. She's actually living in London. Both my mother and my dad is actually in London. They live in London now.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you something. And I hope that other mothers are listening.
Yes.
That mother's love is an engineer, is a doctor, is a teacher. That mother put you on her breast when you just born, and she carry you right through. And there's too many of us who don't remember our mother.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
And you notice what you have been saying.
I love the testimony.
You started with your mother, and you keep saying, my mother, my mother, my mother.
Yeah.
Oh, what a wonderful.
So tell me now. Go ahead.
So I wanted to with the book. So
Ghetto
the
Youth
book
Bible
was really to create that, to really set something that somebody who were coming from a similar background can have something that they could go through and look at. And on it, I call it the Ghetto Youth Bible because I have something in it and that concluded it called the 10 Commandments of Ghetto Youth Bible, which is a series of infographics that really is a 10-step part to really achieving success.
Tell us one or two.
And the first one is having thou shall have a mentor.
A mentor. Okay.
A mentor. And the reason why I also have that as the first is that I think that it was so important for me to have somebody who I can look up to, and sometimes it's not even a person. Sometimes it's a situation that I look to. Sometimes, it's maybe from a soccer coach. Sometimes it's from a teacher.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes it's from my community folks.
What if it was a policeman or a district constable?
Yes.
Sure.
So there's a lot of stuff that that I know that people can learn from. There's thou shall be a continuous learner. That means in everything you do, you have to keep learning. It doesn't matter if you are at the highest point of your career, you have to continue to challenge yourself, continue to improve yourself, because you will never know what the next step is, or you never know what the competition is in terms of laterally, just to basically get you out of your position. So that's something. And the commandment number 10 that I talk about is thou shalt pay it forward. That's something that I truly believe in. That's something that helped me to reach where I am. And that's something that actually comes from seeing my mother don't have anything, my father don't have anything, but they give everything that they have to people. And people from the community still saying, your father used to give me ice cream, your father used to feed me, your father used to did that, So it's more that giving that I think that channel.
But that is a Jamaican spirit that can make us great, Really.
Yes.
So tell me now, you're paying forward in Jamaica. Still, I understand. Tell me what you're doing.
I am. So, I actually started a nonprofit organization called DTR, Dream to Reality Foundation, in 2006. At the back of my coach, my former coach of Mannings. I was the captain of the football team at Mannings,
really?
the Costa Cup team. That I should mention to you is at the finals for the first time.
All right, Mr. Hamilton, you and your boss in this. Go ahead.
Yes. All right. So the current coach also,
Yeah.
which I actually, brought the current coach back to the team because I'm at the vice president of
You're
the
the
Man's
patron.
School Football Foundation as well.
Great. Good news.
And one of the things that the coach called me and he said to me, I'm keeping a tournament, a football tournament. Can you sponsor it? And I said to him, I can give you some money. I don't have the whole stuff and everything. And he said, listen, I'm going to name this competition Garold Hamilton under 16 competition. And that was from 2006. And I, for a number of years, I sponsored that
Sure.
football competition.
And can you imagine what that has done to those 16-year-olds, that generation of them, which would not have been possible from any government resources, Pearnel, but can be done because they have an alumnus who is prepared to make that kind of commitment. We commend you.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. And that's so that's that channel and expand that foundation to do community mentorship. I am doing every year. I used to have an event before the pandemic that I give back. I started with $300,000 to the Savannah Hospital. I did it 3 years in a row. The last time I gave $500,000. But I still do. We do Christmas give back. Every Christmas we play Santa. For the kids on the children ward of Savannah Hospital as well. We are connected with the Savannah Hospital nutrition department in where they call on me for anything. I'm doing it. There's also a tablet drive that I actually did and I'm still doing that I've given over almost 350 tablets to kids for the digital divide. I even partner with the Prime Minister Positive Jamaica Foundation. Actually gave him 100 tablets as well so that he can distribute. So this is something that the foundation is extremely excited about giving back and about, especially during this pandemic, that we did pivot. We give care packages to different people all over. We just did a donation at a school in Portland, Broadmount Primary School. So it's not only Sablamar and Westmoreland I'm concentrating on, and even Hanover. I did Hanover and St. James as well. I want to do it as much as I can. If I can, raise money to get tablets, I would, I continue. Every trip I go to Jamaica, I want to take something that I can give to someone in the community.
I hear you're helping now with Corner Regional Hospital. This is a sore foot for us.
So yes.
Tell me what you can help with.
Because my passion is healthcare. My passion is healthcare. My passion is really doing design and help. Dr. Tufton actually, so I should mention, Arjun Marks, our ambassador Arjun Marks.
Yes.
Reach out to me and tell you how it happened. This is funny. I went on profile with Ian Boyne, and Ambassador Marks reached out to me about 2 weeks after and said to me, the Prime Minister said, because she didn't know me before, the Prime Minister said I should reach out to you because you did this riveting interview with Ian Boyne and you have to be a friend of Jamaica and be a part of the important part of the diaspora group. I felt bad when I heard it and I didn't even know you. So you need to come up to the
embassy.
To the embassy and let's talk. So that's how I actually started. I formed that relationship, and then she introduced me to Dr. Tufton after, and let me know that if there's any healthcare stuff that's your specialty. That's something that you should be looking to really lend your expertise to. And I immediately, I told Dr. Tufton, a number of years ago, I do this every day. It's something that it's a truly specialized field, and it's very different because I did other markets. I did, I was in, I did churches, I did museums, I did data center design, and office buildings as well. But I went into the field of healthcare design and understand this. It's a specialist field. It's a different field, but it's also making sure that you have to be working in the field most of the time to understand the nuances, the different code changes, and everything that's associated with it. And it's a critical field. If you make a mistake, it's death.
Life.
That's what the
and
challenge is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited. to jump on board and help. A proposal came out, RFP or came out, request of proposal, or terms of reference, and I basically we were pitted against about 3 or 4 companies, and our firm won. So we're doing the commissioning and oversight, working with the project implementation team that the Ministry of Health put together. Great team, I should say. We're in the process of really getting this right, and really getting this hospital up and running as soon as we can. So that's my commitment.
You're going to be consulting on how the restoration, how the repair of the Cornwall Regional Hospital it goes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Boy, we need that. And because, well, we need that. Everybody knows that has had its fits and starts. We're not here to blame anybody, but it is good to know that somebody with your kind of expertise and experience is being engaged in that. That gives us confidence,
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. And to be honest, it's funny when a lot of people said, hey, how much money you're making a lot of money. And, this project for me is not about money, and I even told my firm that we are going to be even operating almost cost equal for this project, meaning that we're not making any profit, and that's not my intention. And my firm supported me 100% because they know my passion.
Look at that now.
My passion. They know that it's my country.
Yes.
I know that basically it means a whole lot.
Well,
to me.
look at that. That means you have gained their confidence, their respect, their trust in order to do this. Mr. Charles, this is a virtuous story.
Well, there's a bigger one that you don't understand. I want to bring to your attention. These Westmoreland boys. This is about the third Westmoreland top boy that is
in the diaspora.
In the diaspora, that is pushing things our way.
But Gary, when we think of the travail in Westmoreland, yes, that is going on. Your story is for other ghetto youths as well. If you found something to do, you had the zeal of a committed parent with you, a mentoring, and an ambition that has taken you all over the world, but nonetheless still anchors you in Jamaica. That's the way forward, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is, and one of the things that I always want to do and do. So I also always want to invest in Jamaica, and I've been doing that for quite a number of while also. So I have 2 apartment complexes in South, so I'm giving back to my community in terms of creating
facilities,
housing.
Yes, that's needed there.
But also, as an investor, I'm a part of a company called Real Equity, which is a real estate development firm as well. Mm-hmm. We're doing a office complex Mountain View Avenue across from Stanton Terrace.
Oh, excellent! I know that. Yes. I see the sign.
So it's I truly believe in Jamaica, and
I truly believe in Jamaica. Yes.
Truly,
you realize what you're saying is countercultural to a whole heap of people who are in Jamaica, who are listening to us now. How come you in the diaspora? What can we ask of? What can we do to make your commitment, your kind of commitment, more ubiquitous, more universal? Keep it going, because we can't do without it, B.
Yes, and I think what we have to do is try to we have to people like me and other persons who have that type of heart and interest and really are doing things. I think we have to make them much more conspicuous. To somehow we have to create. I don't know if it's a marketing campaign or whatever it is that we can do, because this can truly, I think Ambassador Marks is doing a terrific job with the diaspora and really activating the diaspora and really getting us excited, especially she start doing, a monthly kind of town hall virtual meeting that a lot of folks are on. Really? And I think that there's some, she has some great ideas, and I continue to work with her as well as I do, but it's really to actually she just asked me to be economic advisor to the government of Jamaica. That's something that I think that if we have ambassadors like those, we can continue to sell the brand Jamaica and really sell, to the diaspora group, ways and that we can really stimulate and really allow people to understand that Jamaica, as a whole is a great place. There are challenges associated with any country. I've traveled the world. There's crime, there's everything that associated, and we're not very indifferent from other people. But what we have the greatest people with the greatest heart in the world, and that's what I know, and that's what I want to be a part of.
The greatest people with the greatest heart. Yes, sir.
And I just want to say before you go, if you ever meet Alja Marks again, please tell her thanks for Jamaica. I think it was under Bruce Golden that she became ambassador, and your government kept her there, and she's still there doing a wonderful job for Jamaica, making the contacts.
Well, yes, man. I can't talk enough about that lady. I'm telling you, she embraced me. Like, I felt that the moment, she met me, she embraced me like a son, a brother, and said, listen, whatever you want to be successful, whatever connections you need to make and stuff, because you need to be a leader in Jamaica somehow. That's exactly, she.
It's happening.
She made me believe. She made me a believer also.
And that is what we're trying to do on the bridge. This is a radio station which is intended to bring together the diaspora lovers of Jamaica from wherever they are. And we're so happy to be able to show to others the kind of example, come from nowhere, sir, and you reach everywhere. And it is purely by the human spirit that has taken you to how now you can give back, how now you can pay forward for everything. Boy, Gary, proud of you. Happy to talk to you this morning. Going to follow all the things that you're doing. Really grateful for your presence on the bridge.
And when you come to Jamaica, we'll be very upset with you if you don't get in touch with us.
And all right. No, I will.
Good to hear from you. All the best, man.
But I should tell you, I'm going to be in Jamaica to actually, I'm going to the finals for Munnins. My man is
hear that now, no?
First time.
Once you're there, once you're here, we'll check you again.
All right, no problem.
All the best.
That's a bridge.
Good. Right. Gary Hamilton, what do you make of that, sir?
You talk about tears in her eyes.
Yeah.
When I listened to his emphasis on his mother, I remember my mother put me with her on a bus. From train line all the way to West Indian Training College, right? Me and her alone, I look up. I don't even know if I did that suitcase.
Yeah, one grip.
Like a red grip.
Yeah,
brown grip.
Yeah, man.
Right, and these mothers.
Yeah, but we were talking about family life earlier.
Yes.
Now, and look what happens.
Look,
the man tells us that story.
The mother.
Yeah. And the commitment, even though they're not together. The father no Lego picnic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes? You stay with it. You have
and
an obligation.
There's so many papa who don't business with them picnic until graduation.
Right. And there's so many mothers too, when they part with the father, them don't want to see him again. Yes? Because of personal reasons.
Yes.
When in fact the child needs to know who his father is.
Yes. And the father needs to take care of the
picnic. Right. So we're learning some lessons this morning. Oh my goodness. Early rise on the Bridge 99. You want us to wind up or you want us? Well, by all means. Yes. This has been a good program.
Very good. And I remember there are 2 or 3 guys from Westmoreland that carry this story.
Yes. No, isn't that interesting? Carry that story, and yet at the same time, Westmoreland is in a pop-down situation.
Yes.
But this kind of example, this kind of story can energize a different mood, a positive vibe, for the whole parish.
And there are many young people, we hope, who will be listening and say, this is the right path.
And it can happen for me.
I can't do it.
And it's a different kind of approach to some of the measures that we often think are the only thing we have in our paper.
As a reverend gentleman,
yes, sir. Oh, Lord.
I know you will understand when I say, elder, tell mama, she send the boy go to school and carry him. And mama get on bus with her little basket and her little grip.
Yeah.
and carry go to school.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic
And
story.
sit
you know.
down 2 weeks, go to Mr. McMorris every day from Spanish down to Mona till him take her son, even though she don't know how to pay for it.
Can you imagine?
Yes, but she do it.
She's
Yes,
stay
that is
with
the
them.
spirit. That's the spirit of the bridge. That's the spirit of the early rise. Thanks so much for your company. Thanks to LaFane. Thanks to Athena, Richie, Romy, Audley. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do the same thing again. We're putting juice, we're putting oxygen, we're putting liberty into the Jamaican experience.